The roar of war drums echoed through the valleys and mountains of Greece. On the horizon, an unstoppable threat loomed: the Persian Empire. Since the days of Darius I, the Persians had expanded their dominions with irresistible force, subjugating kingdoms, bending knees, and crushing all opposition. But there was a problem: Athens did not bow. When Persian envoys arrived demanding submission, the Athenians threw them into the sea. In Sparta, the response was even more brutal. The messengers were cast into a well. The message was clear: war was inevitable. Darius I attempted to punish the Greeks by sending a colossal fleet in 490 BC, but he was humiliated on the plains of Marathon. His dream of conquest dissipated along with his fallen soldiers. But the Persians do not forget. Xerxes I, his son and successor, swore vengeance. For years, he gathered an unprecedented army, digging canals, building bridges, and mobilizing tens of thousands of warriors. When he finally marched, the ground trembled under the weight of his soldiers. Was Greece's fate sealed? Had the gods already decided the outcome? Or did the men of Hellas still have something to say? The Greeks knew that facing the Persian avalanche in open battle was suicide. But they had a chance, if they could force the Persians into a narrow battlefield where numbers meant nothing. That place existed, the Pass of Thermopylae. While the city-states debated the threat, Sparta sent only 300 warriors, not just any men, but veterans with sons, men who did not fear death. Alongside them, about 7,000 Greek allies joined the cause. But there was a problem. Many hesitated to fight as the Olympic Games and the Carnea Festival forbade combat. Time was against them. Could this small army resist the greatest empire the world had ever known? The Persians advanced like an endless tide, but the Greeks had something that no gold, no power, no vast army could buy: the perfect terrain. The Pass of Thermopylae was a corridor of rock and sea that neutralized the Persian numbers. And in that tight space, the Greek phalanx was an impenetrable wall, overlapping bronze shields, long spears piercing any enemy daring to approach. The Persian infantry, with their wicker shields and short spears, stood no chance in close combat. Not even Xerxes' elite, the feared Immortals, could break the Spartan line. Xerxes, accustomed to seeing enemies kneel before him, watched his overwhelming force become useless against Greek discipline and strategy. The Spartans slowly retreated, pretending to yield, only to ambush the Persians and slaughter them. Each Persian charge ended in piles of bodies. The battle that was supposed to be an easy conquest turned into a nightmare for the great king. At dawn on the first day, Xerxes ordered his troops to advance, expecting a swift and crushing victory. Waves of Median and Kissian soldiers charged against the Greek wall, confident that their numerical superiority would overwhelm the defenders. But as they clashed with the Spartan phalanx, the illusion of an easy victory vanished. Shoulder to shoulder, the hoplites withstood the impact and counterattacked with lethal precision. The narrow pass turned the Persians' advantage into a death trap. Men fell by the thousands as the Spartans fought like gods among mortals, repelling each new assault with relentless fury. Seeing that his common soldiers were useless against that iron wall of discipline, Xerxes sent his elite guard, the Immortals. 10,000 of the empire's finest warriors marched under the king's command, ready to carve a path through the Greek resistance. But the phalanx did not break. With every Persian advance, the Spartans used a cruel and precise tactic. They pretended to retreat, luring the enemies deeper into the narrow corridor, then struck with full force. The Immortals, used to subjugating entire kingdoms, were massacred. Xerxes, furious, watched from his portable throne, unable to believe what he was seeing. On the second day, the scene repeated itself. Relentless attacks, wave after wave of Persian warriors hurled against the Greek line, only to be annihilated. Despair began to spread through the Persian army. If even the Immortals could not break that defense, who could? Then, as if fate itself mocked the Greeks, betrayal changed the course of the battle. A Greek named Ephialtes, seduced by Persian gold, revealed the existence of a hidden mountain path. Xerxes could barely contain his triumph. Finally, that insolent resistance would come to an end. As night fell, Persian troops began their secret march along the path indicated by the traitor. The Greek forces guarding the trail, a detachment of Phocian soldiers, were caught by surprise and retreated, opening the way for the final attack. When Leonidas learned of the betrayal, he understood the inevitable. They were surrounded. The only way out was death. With the calm of a warrior who had already accepted his fate, the Spartan king ordered most of the Greeks to withdraw but chose to stay and fight to the end. At his side remained the 300 Spartans, 700 Thespians, and 400 Thebans, ready to face the final onslaught. On the morning of the third day, the Greek warriors knew they were doomed. Without fear, they met the Persian advance with everything they had: broken spears, short swords, even their shields turned into weapons. Each Spartan fought as if he were 10 men, but fate was already sealed. Leonidas fell in battle, his body pierced by spears and arrows. His men tried to protect him, but the Persian avalanche was unstoppable. Surrounded on all sides, the last survivors fought to their last breath, choosing death over surrender. When the last Spartan fell, Xerxes ordered Leonidas' body to be decapitated and displayed as a trophy, a futile attempt to erase his glory. But what he did not know was that, in that blood-soaked pass, the Spartans had not merely died. They had become legend. Their sacrifice at Thermopylae ignited the Greek resistance, uniting once divided cities against their common enemy. Days later, Athens was sacked, but the spirit of Hellas remained unbroken. At the Battle of Salamis, the Greek fleet turned the tide, destroying the Persian navy and forcing Xerxes to retreat. The following year, at Plataea, the Persians were crushed once and for all, ending their ambitions over Greece. But Thermopylae was never forgotten. The example of courage and loyalty became an eternal symbol of resistance against oppression. Even today, we ask ourselves, in the face of the impossible, would we fight to the end? Or would we bow? The Spartans have already given their answer. And so, the 300 entered eternity, proving that courage can defy even the mightiest of empires. But this was just one of the countless epic stories that shaped the world. Want to discover more legendary battles, ruthless kings, and warriors who defied fate? Then subscribe to Sagas of History and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any glorious stories. Because legends never die, they are told.